Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Nerdpocalypse Podcast. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey, young people, have you ever heard of a talk show called The Jenny Jones Show?
Have they? Have they? Oh,
I don't think they have. I don't think. How many of you listening right now have heard of The Jenny Jones Show?
It's funny because that era was really weird, right? I feel like it started with, I want to say like Sally Jesse Raphael, right? She kind of started off. Then like Ricky Lake took over.
Well, when did Donahue come out? Right? Like, did Donahue start it, or was he a little more serious?
He was at a time. And then it started to kind of trickle down there when like the ratings. So he might have been the GOAT of insane daytime or afternoon talk show bullshit. Then it was Sally Jesse Raphael. She had the red glasses. Then I feel like it was Ricky Lake. Jenny Jones was in there, but she hadn't taken over, right? Like she was hanging out in the background, getting the audience and shit. And then there was absurd shit like Richard Bay for a while.
Richard Bay, nigga. Richard Bay had a sound engineer with a soundboard during the show. And in order to get people to fight, he would play like different sound effects and shit.
He would play one that said "Shut up."
Yeah.
The TV. We used to live in a proper country. TV was great.
Yo, the 90s were fucking wild, yo. The 90s were trash, right? They really were
total trash television, 100%.
It was like, this is why. But the 90s for black people were awesome.
Yes,
right? Like, this is why, I prefer the 90s. Like, you see people our age, normally they're like, middle-aged white nerds, right? And they long for the days of the 80s, right? Because everything is like a Spielberg movie to them, right?
Cocaine was super white.
Well, I'm talking about like kids, you know what I mean? Like,
me too.
They were kids in the 80s.
I'm talking about kids.
They long for that. Nah, yo, the 80s were different for us. 80s were and we were fine. But the 80s were different for us.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there were certain moments in the 80s that were just not so great for us. But the 90s was the pinnacle of like black entertainment. Like we were banging on all cylinders, yo. Like we were. The music was fucking awesome. It's when we started
taking over. It's when we started taking over the culture in America.
Yeah, that's actually that's
and getting recognition, like getting real mainstream recognition, right? Like black people have always like led culture, even in the 40s and 50s, right? But they would put out like the Osley brothers would put out a record, but they would put white people's faces on it to get the white people to buy it, right? They had to trick them into listening to black music and stuff like that.
That's
right?
Insane. That's an insane story.
But for me, like the 70s, like everybody was kind of like, everybody was in it, right? Everybody loved each other and everything. The 80s was white people time, man. Like they fucking.
100%. 100. I mean, Look, spoiler alert, not to make it political, Ronald Reagan ruined America, yo. Like he really did. Dude, the 1960s was the free. I'm dead serious. If Ronald Reagan had been killed when he got shot, the world would be a better place. Sorry. Look. Oh, are you sad? Be sad. Whatever. Like the 60s was like free love, hippie shit, right? 70s, people were like, oh, like that's cool, but like we also need to have jobs. So like we probably should like knock it off a little bit. Like, still smoke, have fun. But like we still gotta have jobs.
Yeah, we gotta get a little bit serious.
Right. Like we gotta get a little serious, right? Women's lib was in the 60s, like heavily in the 60s. Into the 70s, you got women working. black people, we on the come up, right? Like we got our voter rights in the last decade. We're on the come up. Shit's kind of like we gotten out of the 60s of like political assassinations and shit. 70s, people started like, all right, things are feeling a little bit more regular. Like, okay, everybody's kind of working. It wasn't perfect, obviously. Everybody was kind of working together. Everything was going. And then they hired that fucking, failed actor to be president. And that dude, his first thought was, why don't I just fuck over every minority? And, are gay people getting AIDS? Fuck that. Yeah, I mean, for real. And then the divide happened. And then, like, black people had a little resurgence in the 90s thanks to Bill Clinton. That's it.
Yeah.
American History by Jay. There you go. No, look, I'm telling you, man, weed was a very good thing for this country. For a long time, it was. It was. People just chilled the fuck out. They just chilled the fuck out. And that's what people
did. And then,
and we fucked it up.
War on drugs.
Yeah. And then we quite literally fucked it up. It's crazy. All right. That was a weird start, but whatever. All right,
it's a light docket, so
very light docket.
I'm filling time.
Okay. Did you watch anything?
No, I didn't, but I have been reading some books, so I guess I can talk about them. I'm reading. I just read. I'm about to finish the second book in the series called The Palladium Wars by Marco Kloos, Kloos. He is a military science fiction.
No, shocking news. Breaking news, guys. Michael likes military. Dork.
And he did the Frontline series, which I read a couple books in that series, and I liked it enough. So I started the Palladium Wars, and this is it's the same. It's not the same type of thing, but it's a slow burn. And it is, if you can it's a slow burn, but it's a quick read. So if you can kind of get through it, you will enjoy it. It's basically, the first book is called Aftershocks, and it's basically about what happens after like a massive war just happened between a bunch of different planets, right? And it might seem kind of weird that you're starting a series after the war, right? But it's more of a study on characters, right? Like your main guy, Aiden, is a newly released prisoner of war. He wasn't like infantry, right? He wasn't killing people, but he worked for the other side and he got caught, right? And it's him picking up the pieces of his life after he is released from the war. And another point of view character. And then if there are other point of view characters that I won't necessarily get into, but it's interesting. And it's a quick read. I'm trying to get through the second book. The first book ends on a fucking cliffhanger, like a super massive like cliffhanger. So
that's very weird for a book.
Right. It feels weird for a book and the first book feels more like like an extended like thought experiment than an actual like front to back, like here is a story and the next, like, no, it's serialized, right? Like it's like watching a TV show. It's like Presumed Innocent, where the guy has a fucking heart attack and it's like, you're gonna end right there? Okay, right. Well, I guess I gotta watch the next one, right? So the book series is very serialized. But if you read that first book, if you get halfway through it and you like it, I do recommend at least the second one. I got like 6 more chapters. So yeah, I'm trying to read more and I'm reading those while I wait for my Warhammer books to come in. Brad recommended some Warhammer books for me because like I want to get into that, but like it's been around for like 50 years.
50 years?
There are like 300 books. There are like 300 Warhammer books. So I'm like, where do I start? And he was like, read these 3 books and you'll get into it. So, and because I'm getting ready for the Warhammer video game that's getting ready to come out. So it's like, all right.
It's been around for 50 years. It's older
I think it's been
than
around.
It's older than the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan. That's crazy. He should have died. Okay, I did not know that. Now, are you going to fulfill your duties as a Warhammer nerd and paint your little figures like a real?
So I'm not gonna do that, because that is the quickest way to get a gray pile of shame. Apparently, is what it's called. When you get the little figurines and you just get them, but you like don't paint them yet. Like it's just your gray pile of shame. But I want to get in this. I want to get into it because I want to get in on the ground floor for whenever Henry Cavill gets his Warhammer movie or TV show up, right? Like I want to be like, all right, I know this, because it's like I told Brad, I'm like, Warhammer seems like something's right up my alley, right? It's military, it's sci-fi, right, and it's fascism, right? Right. 3 things I love, right?
Do they have capes on their armor? Awesome.
They do.
So, is it designed by Hugo Boss? I love it. It's fucking insane. Yeah, look, you are a huge fan of military sci-fi, so yeah, Warhammer 40K or whatever the fuck. Yeah, it seems right up your alley. Me, on the other hand, I've also been doing. I've been trying to read more, or I listen to audiobooks because it's really fucking next to impossible for me to read in the traditional way like old people do with paper and shit. So I like to have my books read to me like some sort of king. And what I discovered, like a child, that's, I mean, what's the fucking difference? What I have discovered about myself is I have a very, very dark part of my personality. Dude, all the books I read are fucked up. They're all, and I cannot read. They're like, oh, here's a light story about like 2 friends hanging out. I'm like, fuck that. Oh, is this movie about rape, murder, and serial killers? Wow. Can I get 7 of them? It's so fucked up. So yeah, I don't know why, but I find the darkest shit way more interesting to read about. So I'm reading Elle Reeve, who people would probably know her from Vice. She was a correspondent for Vice. I think she's on like CNN now or something like that. But she wrote a book called Black Pill: How I Witnessed the Darkest Corners of the Internet Come to Life, Poison Society, and Capture American Politics. Yay. And it's really fascinating because it's about the worst things. Incels, Nazis, neo-Nazis, and like dorks in like 4chan and 8chan and shit like that, and how and Donald Trump and Republicans. So it's really fascinating. And then I immediately added a book called Men Who Hate Women, which is all about the incel movement, because I just find these creeps incredibly fascinating. Like Perry Mason. I want to know what drives you.
No, I get it. Like I want to know what I want to know what people. That's why I'm fascinated with fascism, because I want to know.
Right, because you're a fascist.
The psyche. I want to get into the psyche of these people. Right. Donald Trump is an incredibly interesting person now, more than he ever was.
Right. Exactly.
Because of his ability to gain like public support from people who hate what he is, literally.
Right, like a blue blood
coastal elite.
Yeah.
And he's got all these fucking shit kicking, middle of America heartland people doing whatever to like it's just fascinating. It's fascinating.
It's fucking bizarre. And like that's my whole thing is I really like the idea of just trying to understand it. Like, and not necessarily that I will ever understand it, but like hearing the stories, sort of these like deeper stories about it. I just find it fascinating. And after I finish this, I'll go back to some more murder serial killer books. Like I really like them. I really do. And I don't know why. It's fucking weird, man. Like it's weird.
Is it so you're into like non-fiction, and that's the thing, you're into non-fiction like murder.
Yes, and I just saw a headline. I really want to read this. There's an article in Atlantic about a person. This is like a real fucking story. That there was a guy who was like does all the interviews, like the in jail interviews with all these serial killers, and like kind of like writes it all down and studies it and shit. And a bunch of true crime podcast nerds noticed that guy was in fact a serial killer. So they went after him. I was like, I want to read about that. That sounds awesome. That's out of a movie, right? But I am more fascinated with sort of, I like fictional stuff. I don't mind, right? Like I read an Alex Cross book, like the very first one and stuff like that. I like that kind of stuff, but I think it's the nonfiction shit. I'm like, give me the real fucked up humans. Like that's what I want to read about. But yeah, I also don't read about it at night because that disturbs me. It's not good. It's actually not good for your brain. Like you shouldn't read.
Yeah, you shouldn't be dreaming about Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, like but as you bring that up, I'm going to see if there's a good Jack the Ripper book on Spotify, and that's where I listen to all my books for the most part.
Now I'm going to do an experiment here, folks. I'm going to do an experiment. What's that Johnny? What's that?
Kreskin the Magician.
Bit?
Yeah, Kreskin the Magician. Like,
I know the answer, but I'm just gonna write it down. Who is your favorite comic book hero?
My favorite comic book hero is Batman.
Of course it's Batman, because you are a psychopath, right? You're a detective, right?
Yeah. No, that's I like that. I like it.
You want to be able to find out, like, yo, these people are crazy. I need to know.
Yeah, right? I need to know. I don't need to meet them. I don't have that aspect of it. And I need to know over there. Like I
need to know, and I need to beat the shit out of them within an inch of their life. And
I don't want to kill them, but I don't want. I would like to drop them off at Traction. That's fine. Like the weird thing is, I saw a clip. It just really speaks to it. I saw a clip the other day online of someone like recut up a trailer for Silence of the Lambs, like as like a romantic comedy. And I just thought it was funny, right? But I was like, one, that's funny, and two, I was like, kind of want to rewatch that movie. Like it's so fucked up. And like I remember I had a professor in college. I had to do like 2 presentations, and one of them I chose on like what happens, like the burial process, and they were like, you have a very dark side. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, I just find this interesting. Why? But I'm a very nice guy. I swear to God, I am. But I just find that kind of dark shit really interesting, especially to read about. So there you go. If you have any sort of like dark, fucked up nonfiction, send it in the comments. I want to read it.
And if you have any military science fiction or cyberpunk, I need to get more into cyberpunk. Let me know, and I depending on who you are, I might take you up on your recommendation.
Yeah.
Some of you motherfuckers are crazy.
Fair enough. And by the way, Terrence is also fucked up. He was reading about insane asylums. Okay, so like, don't judge me.
Right? Oh, Terrence is even worse. Terrence would like to meet them and fuck them up.
He's like, send me their address. All right, so out of books into television shows and movies. I watched. My wife and I are watching the new season of Industry on HBO. Fuck Max. It's really good. It's excellent. Again, I am highly recommending this to you. You berated me into watching Succession, and you were correct. It was a great show. I am berating you. Watch Industry. It's very good. It's incredibly focused on finance. So that's like, because it's like Wall Streeter type of shit, but it takes place in Britain. But that's not what the show is, right? Like it's more about these characters in the world in which they live. It's really good. It's really, really good. This new season, I won't spoil like what happens to the characters necessarily, but the latest episode was one of the most irritating episodes for me personally, because it's all these like financial people, and they're all going to this big conference, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, we're gonna help the environment and everything else, and that's what the conference is about." And then like behind the scenes, they're like, "Ain't nobody trying to give a fuck about. We need to make money. Like, yeah, these people are buying into this environment bullshit. We're trying to make money. I don't give a shit. I'll be dead in 50 years. I don't care if the Earth explodes." And I'm like, this is so accurate, and it makes me angry. Like, we have to care about the Earth. We live on it. But yeah, it's really, really good. They do an excellent job. And it pulls you in. Like, I wasn't sure, because it's been a while since season 2. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get pulled back in the story. Nope. You're right back in it. And that one dude, I don't remember his name, who played Juntao in in that Rush Hour movie. He's really good as Eric in the show. He's a real piece of shit, but you like him. You really do, because you want to see it. You want to see how crazy he gets.
Yeah, my wife, she's been watching this, and
Kin Leung, by the way,
she really likes it. And usually we watch whatever Sunday night show comes on, and this is the Sunday night show, and I'm like, well, I can't like just jump into it, right? Like it's I haven't seen the other one. So she's like, they're not long. Well, they're not many episodes.
No, there's only 19
season.
episodes out. There's only 19 episodes out as of now, and 3 of those are in the new season.
Okay. So 16 hours that I have to catch up on.
Hey.
But I'll try.
Yeah, honestly, I think you'd like it a lot. Like, the first episode is going to throw you for a fucking loop, which is is totally on purpose. But so the basic premise for people who've never seen it, it's about a group of like young graduates competing for permanent positions at this investment bank, right? And so they're kind of vying for these positions, and you get like shit starts to go off the rails, and it's about. I mean, there's a lot of drug use because these are investment bankers. So there's a lot of drug use. There's a lot of like super smart people, and there's a lot of conniving and backstabbing type of shit, like Succession. Just it's not a comedy, or that's the only difference.
Yeah, this one movie podcast that I listened to, one of the hosts is like, you got to watch Industry. He's just like, he's like you, yelling from the rooftops that you need to watch Industry. So I'll give it a shot.
By the way, the lead actress is she was the daughter in Leave the World Behind, Mahershala Ali's daughter. That's she's the main actress on that.
Okay, yeah. All right, I'll give it a shot.
All right, there you go. All right, let's jump into topics this week. Take it away.
I can't justify it. Skydance Jurassic World writer Derek Connolly is writing an Eternal Champions movie.
Why?
For those of you that don't know, Eternal Champions was a fighting game in the 90s.
It was awesome.
And it was something. But it had a black guy named Blade in it. So I was like, all right, well, I'll pick that guy. He was Blade before Wesley Snipes made Blade. You know what I mean?
Blade.
I'm reading from the Hollywood Reporter. The game was praised for its characters, which were a multitude ranging from Blade, a Syrian bounty hunter from 2030 AD, to Larson, a cat burglar in the 1920s, to Slash, a hunter from 50,000 BC, and Jeddah, a Russian noblewoman masquerading as an acrobat at the turn of the 20th century. I don't know why anyone would want to give. Which Jurassic World was the one with the clone? Was that Jurassic World?
That was the
that was the middle one, right?
Yeah, it was the second one. That's right. I didn't see the one after that. Fuck that.
I didn't see the one after it because there was a clone girl in the second one, and she let loose a bunch of dangerous creatures because they're like me. No, they're not, dummy.
They might be.
Look, Eternal Champions was one of those games like it, if you're gonna make a fighting game movie or TV show or whatever, Eternal Champions wouldn't be my first choice because I don't know how you do it, right? Like I just read off a brief description of some of the various characters in this game, and they are wildly different.
This is gonna be odd.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like Masters of the Universe, right? I know Masters of the Universe has a ton of like fans and stuff, but Masters of the Universe, it doesn't. For me, it's mixing like peanut butter and ice cream, right? Like it's got like Conan the Barbarian stuff, but like science fiction, and it's just the two things that don't go together in my mind, which is why I have a very difficult time with it.
Yeah, but at the same time, like that lore is weird, but it's also really deep. So it then, you can kind of justify all of this shit. I don't know why you would pick Eternal Champions. Like, why not pick something that's a little bit more mainstream, but maybe they could get the rights really cheaply? I don't know. It seems like a very odd choice, honestly.
Yeah, but I guess all the mainstream ones are. I mean, look, it can't be any worse than that Mortal Kombat movie that everybody seems to love because they didn't have to pay to see it.
No, that movie was great.
That movie was something. Fucking Cabal sounded like, hey, I'm Cabal. Hey, forget about it.
Yeah, fucking... like, why would it look like New Jersey? I mean, maybe that actually is his background. I don't know, but I thought his voice sounded ridiculous.
It just sounds
good.
Really.
He looks good, by the way.
He looked fine. He looked fine.
Yeah, you hating.
I am hating. I didn't really care for that movie, and I don't know why a lot of people do. Like,
I don't. Honestly, I don't know why they did. I really don't.
Especially because Mortal Kombat has another story that has like incredibly deep lore. It's like science fiction and ninjas, which I guess doesn't make any more sense, but I like ninjas more than I like, barbarians. So I give it a pass.
Right.
But Mortal Kombat, it has its like very deep lore, but it should be Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
That's what that movie should have been. It should have been Big Trouble in Little China, but like way more violent, right? But like funny. And I don't know, man. Like I could like that's pretty much what Mortal Kombat is, right? Like,
I mean, one could certainly make the argument, yes.
Like the Kurt Russell character in that movie is Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
Right? His buddy in that movie is Liu Kang.
Right.
Right? James Hong is Shang Tsung. Right? Like, it's just
like,
just do that.
I mean, the funny thing is, I think you could do a Mortal Kombat movie in that same vein. Just instead of having like a definite, well, you got to have the tournament actually. Like that is kind of part of it. But you make the tournament not necessarily the centerpiece of the movie, right? Like the original two movies were dumb and they were bad. I don't care what anybody says, they were bad. You're looking at it with unbelievably large rose-colored glasses. Those movies are horrible.
Look, those movies are bad. One is considerably
worse than the other. Okay, I will give you that. That's fair. You will die. Like, oh, very good. This is top-notch acting. But yeah, the second one is horrible. Good Lord. Didn't they? Yeah, they got Dexter's dad to play Raiden, and he was just like, they didn't even like bother with the whole uniform. He just had like white pants on and shit. Like,
he just had white pants and a vest on, And then I remember one scene where he was fighting a bunch of ninjas, and it just looked like a gymnastics routine, yo.
Yeah, he was just like flipping through the columns. Like, what are y'all doing,
man? Everybody was doing just like they were trying to out roundhouse each other. It was like two people who don't know how to play a fighting game were playing a fighting game.
Yeah,
just whiffing all over the place.
It was,
which is kind of like early Mortal Kombat games, but
in fairness,
I digress.
But like, I feel like you don't make the tournament the center of it, right? Like, you tell the story of like them in Outworld and all this other shit. Like, I've seen clips of the game, like the sort of movie-ish clips of the game, the later games. Like, they have like a real fucking characters talking and doing things with each other, real dialogue. Copy that, and then you have like, and then you're forced to do the tournament, and that's like, you have every once in a while you kind of force two characters together in this tournament, but for the most part, it's about the world around them and like them interacting in and out of that world. Like, I don't understand why they can write a decent enough story in game, but they cannot crack the code on this as a movie. Like, just copy it. It's not that hard.
Because they're not getting the people who know this stuff to write about it, right?
That's a like fucking.
If you get writers from another realm to say, "Hey, write a Mortal Kombat movie," they're gonna write a Mortal Kombat movie, and it's gonna be like the thing that you see in the games and shit. Now, look, the things you see in the games aren't like high art by any means, right? But
no,
it doesn't have to be.
You need. Yeah, that's not what you need.
Right. It just needs to be entertaining. That's all. And those other three Mortal Kombat movies, I mean, maybe the third one was entertaining if you just like want to see fatalities. But like you can YouTube fatalities. Like that's nothing.
Right. Yeah, they really, for some reason, they just cannot get this. And I really don't know why. I really don't get it. So yeah, Eternal Champions for some fuck reason. All right.
Yeah, Eternal Champions is happening, I guess. We'll see. Wait and see. Let me know if you enjoy it. Look, I will see an Eternal Champions movie if Nicolas Cage is going to be in it.
Oh, that's right.
Nicolas Cage, MGM sets Nicolas Cage to play John Madden in a David O. Russell directed movie, Madden.
John Madden?
The football guy. Tough acting, tenactin' John Madden.
Yes. Afraid of airplanes, John Madden.
Yeah. I got family like that. We had to go to a family reunion. They just drove from here to Detroit.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
They drive everywhere. They don't like getting on planes because they Baltimore niggas.
Bro, it's more dangerous to be on the road, but okay.
The Amazon MGM Studios drama about the unlikely path it took John Madden from Super Bowl winning Oakland Raiders head coach to being the brains and brand behind Madden NFL, the video game. That paved the way for his rise to become arguably the greatest football broadcaster the NFL has ever seen. When Madden became head coach of the Raiders and led the team to the championship, he seemed to be standing on top of the world. Coaching and teaching the fundamentals of football was all he ever wanted out of life. But his dream job was destroying him because he so obsessively put everything into the job. It forced him to retire at the peak of his powers. Look, I'm not going to read this entire article because a lot of it is just talking about John Madden. And, David O. Russell telling, the world what we already know, that Nicolas Cage is one of our greatest, most original actors. Look, I know what you're saying, right? You see Nicolas Cage and you see John Madden and you're like, what? That
yeah, you can't get here from there.
Right. How do you do that? But to that I say Nicolas Cage played
himself.
What the fuck is John Travolta? He played John Travolta and he looked just like that guy in face off. So I don't want to hear anybody
Solid.
I don't want to hear anybody say anything about one of the greatest living actors of our generation.
You know, look, that's it. You know what? I stand corrected.
Look, does this sound interesting to you?
Yes. Look, I don't hate David O. Russell's work.
I'm going to watch this.
I got tired of David O. Russell working with the same people over and over and over again. So, is Jennifer Lawrence in this movie? If she's not in this movie, I will see this movie. But yeah, no, it does sound interesting. It didn't sound interesting to me from a like, I think this might be a good movie. It sounded interesting to me of like, oh, I'd love to see the disaster in which this will become. And then I saw that it was David O. Russell. I was like, oh, okay, maybe not, actually. But we shall see. It's an odd choice. I do think it's an odd choice for Cage. Not that I don't think he can that he can act, but it's an odd choice. Like when I think about John Madden, he is not the person I think about. But you know what?
That makes me want to see it even more. That makes me want to see it even more.
I mean, he might be able to pull it off. Look, he's had a couple of really fucking good movies lately. So it's not as if
he's reminding people that like, no, I'm not the A, B, C, D, E, F. Like, I'm not that guy all the time.
I was going to say, he's not only that guy. He's definitely that guy, but he's not only that. And look, I can appreciate good work when I see it, no matter what, right? Like, I loved Pig. I thought Pig was great. Like, not just good for a Nicolas Cage movie. I thought it was a great movie, which is a movie a lot of people hadn't seen. So, okay, yeah. Like, if they want to have him for John Madden, if they see something in him, cool. I'd like to see him try.
He disappeared into his role in Dream Scenario.
Yeah, you disappeared. I haven't seen that yet.
That's such a great movie, man. It's a really great movie. And you watch that movie and you're like, oh yeah, this is why Nicolas Cage is still around. Because he picks different types of role, especially now when he can't do any, action stuff or can't do it as well as he could. And like he's in his I won't call it a renaissance because like you need a bunch of hits for that. Like he did do Renfield where he played Dracula and shit, right? So I'm not saying he's having a renaissance, but like don't like people. I don't want. Yeah, I don't want people to think that like I'm being facetious when I say that I like Nicolas Cage as an actor. That guy swings, man.
Yeah, he tries, and I give him a lot of credit for trying different things and not just doing the same type of roles to appease audiences. Like, look, sometimes you're going to get a Renfield, which is unfortunate, and then sometimes you're going to get a Pig or Joe or some of these other movies that people really seem to like. So I haven't seen that other one that you were talking about, the A24 film, but. Look, I really enjoyed Pig, man. I was impressed. Like my wife and I were watching it. We're like halfway through, like this is a pretty good movie. Like it turns out, holy shit! Because in the beginning, my wife was like, "The fuck is this?" Like, all right, his pig got stolen. Is this the movie? Like, is this like a John Wick but with a pig? Like this is gonna be done. No, it wasn't. It was really well done, actually. So yeah, you never can tell. All right, next up.
Lionsgate is further expanding its John Wick universe with John Wick Under the High Table, an action series executive produced by the billion-dollar film franchise star Nicolas Cage. Sorry, I got Nic Cage on the brain. Keanu Reeves and director Chad Stahelski.
Sure,
Chad. Chad is also set to direct the pilot episode. Written by the old man co-creator Robert Levine. The story in John Wick, Under the High Table, picks up directly after the end of John Wick 4. John Wick has left the world of the High Table in a tenuous position, and a collection of new characters will look to make a name for themselves, while some of the franchise stalwart characters remain committed to the old world order. Did you watch John Wick 4?
Yeah, I did.
Did he die at the end of that movie?
Yeah. At least that was my impression.
It was heavily implied that he died at the end of that movie.
Bro got shot like 52 times. Like, get the fuck out of here. He should have been dead way before he got to those stairs.
Right.
No, dude. This shit is a wrap.
And I know they tried to like make it. I know they tried to make it ambiguous, but John had he had a great end. He had a really like great like noble end.
Yeah, he vanquishes the villain in a dope fucking way. The guy's like, yeah, like the guy's talking all that shit. It's like, nah, he got another shot, dog. Like, what the fuck you doing? It's like, boom. That was awesome. Like, it was great. The arrogance of that asshole, and he gets blasted in the head. Yeah, I liked it. You got 4 movies. He doesn't need to be. There does not need to be a John Wick 5. It just simply.
So currently, Keanu Reeves is attached as an executive producer with no acting component. He is said to be very hands-on with the project, which is being shopped in what is shaping up to become a competitive situation. So I'm glad that they're not necessarily bringing him back. I know they tried to be like, oh, maybe he could come back if we can convince Keanu Reeves. I think you'd have a hard time convincing Keanu Reeves to come back as John Wick. That guy's not money hungry, right?
No.
Like that guy, he doesn't come off as a guy that's like, I'm doing this for a paycheck. You know what I mean? He comes off as someone who is not the best actor in the world and is really, really grateful to be an actor.
Yeah, and I also think he really enjoys it, right? Like, I think he likes the idea of being an actor, and I think he takes it seriously. Again, I agree with you. He's not the best actor.
Oh, he takes it but he takes it super seriously. Right. I'm not doubting his commitment. He's very good at his job, but there's only you could be very good at basketball, but like you're not Steph Curry. Just literally just throwing shit up in the air and it lands in the hoop. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's a certain amount of like that's a gift. You know what I mean?
Right. It is literally a gift. Yeah, some people are 5'9". I mean, what the fuck can you do? And which is very tall, I might add. So yeah, it's I like Keanu Reeves a lot. I think he seems like a very good person. Which I think is a sort of a rarity in his industry,
or anywhere,
honestly, yeah, you're right. So look, if he wants to do like executive work on this and just try to keep the franchise afloat and stuff like that, I got no problem with that. Look, don't make The Continental, because that was fucking terrible, and I couldn't make it through the first episode. It was really bad, like real bad. So that was done, but these guys were not heavily involved in that. And that's probably why they're heavily involved in this one. Because it's an interesting universe. So
it is an interesting universe, but I think this universe is interesting enough as like I feel like this thing started on a cocktail napkin. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this universe.
I think the last universe is written on a cocktail napkin. Are you fucking? This is like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode if it was for a movie. Like, they've got an outline, and then they've got like the stunt work that they want to do. You just kind of make it all work. What's the connective tissue between you?
I think this universe is interesting enough if you don't think about it. Like, if you don't think about it and you don't have to have backstory, if you just keep everything a mystery, then this universe is interesting. But I feel like the second you kind of chip away at it and like, oh, well, there's a whole ass hotel building full of assassins. How many people are fucking assassins, bro? How many people has John Wick killed that are assassins? What's their levels? Like what are they like? What's the hierarchy here? Right? Like is
The
everybody
high
just
table,
a fucking
the
goon?
blind dude, John Wick, they're in the same, and then everybody else.
Yeah, man. Like how many? Like Halle Berry's an assassin. Common is an assassin. Lawrence Fishburne is an assassin.
Yeah,
Ian McShane is an assassin. Like
all the coolest people are assassins. That is the reality of things, unfortunately.
And literally every goon, I would have to assume that every goon that John Wick is killing, right, they're a part of this. They're a part of some faction, right? Yeah. And if it's the high table, like, are they going against other people, or are they going against other people that are under the high table?
Yeah, like are there like sort of family factions? Right. There seems like there's too many assassins for the amount of people who are not assassins. Like it feels like they don't have enough work. Like there's got to be a lot of assassinations going on.
Right. Like is it the high table and like Spectre? Right? Like two rival organizations trying to like
that's kind of
assassin each other. That would be dope, right?
Or like a spy versus spy. Like if that's like, what the show is,
yes,
that would be very cool. Like I'd be like, all right, like if you pick your, like, okay, we're Spectre. This is our, this is our champion, right? And then the high table has their champion, and these guys are going around the world trying to kill each other. In the best spy movie I can think of, X versus Sever, right? That was Jesus
Christ.
Yes, that would be. Then I'm cool with it, right? Like that would be kind of fun, or a number of them, right? If there's a number of high tables and not high tables or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot going on here. There's a shit ton going on. So okay,
I don't know. I won't say I don't want to see this, right? Like I didn't give the Continental a shot just because.
Don't.
You're going backwards, and it took place in the 70s, and it just didn't. There was something about it that just didn't really. I wasn't feeling it, but now that I know that
it's got a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I assume that everybody there, their vision was as good as Donnie Yen's was in that last
movie. Plus, it was on Peacock. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really strike me as something like my wife wants to see The Killer, the John Woo remake of the John Woo movie.
Yeah,
and
I'm good.
So I'll probably watch that and talk about it next week. I don't know if that's going to be a good movie.
I'm going to go on the limb and say it's not. Just watched it.
So it was, but yeah, it's a Peacock. It was the Continental was on Peacock, and I haven't been terribly impressed with stuff on Peacock. Right? I have it for wrestling, and my wife has it for Bel Air, and that's pretty much it.
That show still comes on.
That show is in like its third or fourth season. She's up there watching it right now.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
All that shit.
It was an interesting experiment, one that I choose not to continue.
How many? You watched one season?
I watched the first season. Yeah, I watched the first season.
But you watch the second season?
No. I was just, do you want to watch Bel Air? Go ahead, have fun.
Don't let me hold you up.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the impression I got too. All right, next up in topics. Why is this even being worked on is the title I wrote for. Here's a major update from Robert Kirkman on the long-delayed plans for a live-action Invincible movie. I don't know if people know, there's an Invincible show on right now. The prolific comic book writer added, quote, "We're still working with Universal. The show is going well." Yes, we're aware. "I think the movie absolutely has to be perfect, and so it's taking a lot of time. like getting the pieces aligned and getting everything to work so that we can come out and make it as good as possible it can possibly be. So it's been in development for a long time. It's probably going to be in development a while longer. Elsewhere in the interview, Kirkman acknowledged that the movie needs, quote, to provide different experience than the TV show, and said it has to stand on its own and maybe tell the same story, maybe tell a different story. Here's the problem. Why would I want to watch the same story? That story is on TV at my house if I want to watch it. And I don't.
Well, is it going to be the same story? I would imagine it would be. It has to be different, right? I would imagine it has to be different.
I mean, it's the Invincible movie.
Like Preacher was very different, right? For better or for worse.
Worse. 1,000% for worse. Yeah, but that's still the same basic story. They just fucked it up. You know, they like told parts of the story out of order, which made no sense. But yeah, I don't get this. Look, I fell off of Invincible after season 1. Season 1 was great. Had a great ending. And then I just stopped caring. It took way too long to get to season 2. And then Omni-Man wasn't around.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
That was me. It took way too long for season 2 to get here. And then Omni-Man wasn't a presence in it. And
he does show up. He does show up in that season. But it's like a number of episodes. And I was just like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like the way that season ended, I'm like, get to the work, man. Like, because there's a lot in that universe that's really super interesting with the Viltrumites and everything. Like there are more and more and more. Like his dad is nowhere near the strongest Viltrumite, right? So that kind of stuff is really interesting. Maybe I'll get back into it. I mean, I think some people really like it, but I just, to me, that whole issue with like him and his dad was a real linchpin to kind of pull you in. And then when that kind of fell apart, and also the timing between season 1 and season 2 really hurt that show for me. So I was just kind of like, I just don't give a shit, man. I'm trying to care. I just don't.
That's kind of what happens with The Boys for me. Like they take it feels like they take a long time to come back.
It's like a year. I mean, it feels like almost a year in between episodes.
I mean, but at the same time, it should be a year, right? Like, because that's what normal TV does, right? Like here's a season, see you next year. But it feels longer than that. I don't know why, but maybe I just don't have patience anymore. Look, I am intrigued by a live action Invincible. You got to get your Asian superhero representation in there. You know what I mean? Like spread the love, but he's a teenager, and and I'm at this point in my life where like, teenagers get on my nerves, yo. I love kids. I hate teenagers. I'm going to be in for a world of hurt.
Yeah.
In a decade. And I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to poo-poo this just yet. I hope they tell a different story, right?
I don't think anything to poo-poo. Like, is it even going to happen? Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think they should have gone the other way, right? Like, I understand it probably was cheaper, probably significantly cheaper to make a cartoon, but I think because it's not as good of a medium of telling stories, in my opinion. But I think they should have gone the other way. I think they should have done a live action movie, gotten a lot of like really good buzz, and been like, "Oh shit, this is really good," and then done the show. This serialized show, and people are like, they're super invested, and they're like, oh, and you can make it even more violent and everything else. Like, I think that would have been the better way to go. Now, it's a lot easier to get the funding for your little animated show, so that makes sense. but I think it would have served them better. And actually, the show, you could almost have done a big movie and then picked up, you do like 1 or 2 movies and then you expand the universe with the shows, right? Like you could even run it alongside it and then you could tell more stories. But it's really hard to not tell the standard Invincible, at least the beginning of that story, in a movie called Invincible. Like people are going to be like, where's Mark? Like, where's Omni-Man? Like, that's what they want to see in live action. So then you're just doing the same thing. I don't know. I think they kind of maybe didn't think this all the way through. So how about just don't do the movie? Just make a better show and pump out the show faster, honestly. So if you're still watching,
but there's only so many people you're going to hit with an Amazon Prime cartoon. You know what I mean?
That's true.
You gotta, you want that. If Invincible hits, it could be Deadpool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be massive. Absolutely.
Like it could be a superhero movie that is R-rated, like incredibly violent, that appeals to younger people. Yeah, that's why this is coming up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Look, I'm not gonna act like if this eventually does come out, I'm not gonna see it. Like, you're gonna do like, who's playing Omni-Man, right? Like, they need to be. I mean, obviously, J. Jonah Jameson is a bit too old for that now. But you pick the right person to play Omni-Man, and they can play it like as a real dick, like J. Jonah Jameson did. I'm here for that. Like, that would be fun. So, look, get Henry Cavill in that costume. He's beating up his son. Right? You guys love that guy. Cast him and everything. You're a fan cast.
That's funny.
Just real quick, there's an image leak of Benjamin Grimm. Oy vey indeed. The Thing from Fantastic Four First Steps. I am not going to show it here because I don't want to get this video pulled or anything like that, but you can find it. It's very easy to find. What did you think, Micah?
So I generally don't like spy shots, but I had to look at this one. I had to, right? Of the core 4, The Thing is my and should be everyone's favorite character.
Wow.
And The Thing has a very unique look, and I'm not just talking about the big orange rocks, right? Jack Kirby drew that character in a way that character has a defining silhouette, and every movie has failed to make The Thing look like a Kirby drawing, except for now, according to these spot shots. It looks, even from far away on a cell phone image, you can tell that is a Jack Kirby version of The Thing, and it looks great. I think it really, really does. The Jack Kirby version of The Thing, for the uninitiated, imagine Michael Chiklis's Thing, but like with a big brow right over his eyes. And just Google The Thing and look at images of it, and you'll see the difference. It looks great. I'm super curious to see what the final version of this is going to look like. I have to imagine that they're gonna really go all out with the effects in this movie, because the Fantastic Four, like, to bring them into, this is a difficult, like, live action is a difficult medium to bring these powers to life, right? Because you either get, especially with the Thing, you either get Michael Chiklis, which looks like he's wearing one of those sumo suits, right? Just with like cracks painted on it, right?
He looked like a live action, or he looked like a human circus peanut. It was awful.
Or you get the Fan Four Stick one, where it's like there's no weight to it. It looks ugly. You only see it in dark images because it's shoddy, VFX, not shoddy, but like the VFX aren't that
Good.
great. And then the design of it is bad, right? Like he's walking around naked and he doesn't look like the Thing. He looks like a Thing. Right?
Yeah, he's just a rock monster.
He was just a rock monster. And apparently this is very difficult to pull off. So and the stretchy effect was difficult to pull to make look convincing in the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies.
Yeah.
I remember one scene where he's like sitting on a toilet or whatever, and he's reaching out to go get some toilet paper. Like, this looks fucking god awful. So I'm super curious to see how the Fantastic Four are shown on screen. And just that one spy image gives me a lot of hope. Gives me a lot of hope that these people know what the fuck they're doing. Which in turn gives me a lot more hope about the real reason we're all here. Okay? The actual reason why we give a fuck about the goddamn Fantastic Four.
Mr. Fantastic for people who are just listening to.
Shut up.
Richards. Yeah, look, it looks good, man. In all honesty, no notes. It looks that fucking good. The brow is there. I like that. Yeah, I saw a video. I didn't send it to you, but I saw sort of a video from that image, and they're putting it on. Like the mask is like it's got like a rubber, slight like rubber effect. My guess is that they will CGI, like parts of it, so that like when he talks, the mouth moves properly. I'm sure the mouth does move when he talks. They have those sort of like riggings inside. But to make it, like to really fucking make it look pristine. Yeah, no notes, man. That is exactly why these guys should be handling their own properties. Like 1000%. It's unbelievable. To that point, by the way, I finally got a chance to see a good quality version of the D23 trailer of Daredevil. Pitch fucking perfect. Holy shit. Oh, well, Marvel's going to ruin Daredevil. They're never going to be able to make the stuff that Netflix did. Are you sure about that? Like, dude, knock it off. It does give me hope that I think they might have heard the criticisms and are taking them to heart, and they're turning a corner. It'll be not that I think necessarily this Agatha Harkness show is going to be like a bellwether type of thing, but it'll be very interesting to see what that comes off as. If like, are they making the sort of the bigger changes in the movies, and they're trying to, all right, we're not going to worry about the TV shows as much kind of thing, or are they making a real push to kind of shore these things up properly? I'm more and more interested just to see what Agatha does, because I think while that's not a big project, I think it has the potential of opening up that sort of darker side of the universe that has been teased for a very long time. There's talk that like all of the other characters that she's kind of rolling around with are and look, I'm not even going to pretend that I like knew who these characters were beforehand, but they're supposed to be the Salem 7, which are all other magical characters like witches who can transform into these like fantastical kind of monsters, and they all have magical powers, right? Like in the original comics, they're like the granddaughters or the grandchildren of Agatha Harkness, but it seems like that's likely those characters all going to be sort of her crew. So like her little evil Avengers of witchcraft. But that can open up the world to vampires and all that other shit. Like there's no reason why they cannot mention those things and maybe even give you a tease of those things. So we'll see. I mean, Werewolf by Night did a good job of that, but again, that's not a thing that a lot of people saw or even aware of, which I really enjoyed, by the way. So, yeah, you never can tell. But getting back to this, I think the thing looks awesome. Like, it's really good. And I thought the Michael Chiklis one looked dumb. I liked Michael Chiklis in the role, but he looked dumb.
I thought he was a great Ben Grimm. I actually, he and Chris Evans were the standouts in those mediocre movies.
Like that guy playing Johnny Storm, he's got legitimate shoes to fill in that role. Like people know that remember those movies being bad. Chris Evans wasn't bad. He was great as Johnny Storm. That's why he got the.
There's a reason that's a reason why he was in Deadpool, right? And not the other ones. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
that's true. They didn't bring anybody from those.
They didn't bring any of them back, and like part of it is the play on the dual role that Chris Evans had. Yes, I know that, but they could have had the other ones there too if they really wanted to, right? And they didn't, right? What's Michael Chiklis doing right now? You know what I mean? You can't layer that dude up in a.
That would have been fun. That would actually.
I would have loved it. I would have loved it, man. I would have loved it. But it is what it is. Yep. Fucking Eowyn Gruffer or whatever the hell his name is was in Bad Boys, right? Like looking all smarmy and playing a smarmy guy, right? Like he could have been in this, but no, they got Chris Evans. So yeah, man.
Never can tell. Look, bring that guy back and make him the Maker in a future Fantastic Four movie. Surprise. You never know. All right, let's go over to What the Fuck, brought to you by JTD. Micah, take it away.
A victim of 250 wasp stings fears going outside. Yeah, I would too. A man who was stung hundreds of times by a swarm of wasps says he is still too scared to go outside. Bitch. Andrew Powell, 57, initially thought he had been stung 160 times after they invaded his home near this place. I don't know where this is.
Australia.
Let's find out. This place is in This place is in Wales.
Okay, not Welshman. The penal colony, just the people they sent from their original hometown.
Brecon, Powys, Wales. He said he has now counted more than 250 stings across his body. He was taken to hospital for treatment and was told he was 5 minutes from death. We got an amazing. First of all, I wonder how true stuff like that is, right? Like everyone says, "Oh, you were 5 minutes away from death." Like, you mean to tell me, like, if I didn't run that red light, I'd be dead right now? Like and 5 minutes?
Yeah, and now that you did run the red light, you caused an accident, and now someone is 0 minutes. Congratulations, you fucking dick.
Like, oh, the bullet missed his heart by 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters? Like, that's it. Like, if it was literally 2 centimeters over, like, there was no residual damage anywhere that could have reached that 2 centimeters. Like, are we just doing this for effect?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I wish that the bullet was closer to Ronald Reagan's heart. That would have been awesome. He should have died.
You gotta bring it back one more time.
Yeah, no, of course. We've
got amazing views from the house, but I haven't been outside since Sunday, he said. He told BBC Radio Wales Breakfast. I certainly haven't been near the back of the garage where my bikes are. I have spent.
That's a curious thing to say. Why did you say that? Surely. Okay. I had a pest man around to sort out the problem, and he said there were still thousands of wasps around. He warned me not to go near there because they might smell the stings on me. Mr. Powell Bro,
is
they're
now
not
recovering
sharks or
at
fucking
home.
dinosaurs. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they smell the blood. They smell the blood and the fear. Uh, yeah, the nurses said 5 minutes more, and that would have been it. I would have been gone. And then you see images of this guy with all these stings on him.
Oh, thanks.
So apparently he was at some sort of festival. The festival organizer previously described how the sky turned brown as he was swarmed by thousands of wasps from a neighboring farm, having just taken off his motorcycle leathers. Within seconds, they were all over me, he said. I ran into the house, into the shower, hoping the power of the water would get them off. The bottom of the bathtub was black with them, and they were all over the windowsill.
No, thank you.
It was like Nightmare on Elm Street in my bathroom. I think someone hasn't seen those movies.
Yeah, like that's a very weird description.
There were 50 on the side of my buttock that I didn't realize were there because I was focused on my chest and back. I have 20 of them on the back of my head, 20 on my neck. My wife counted more than 80 on each arm. The trouble is, a wasp's nest at the height of season, you may have 5 to 10,000 insects in there. And if a wasp nest is disturbed violently and vigorously, and out they come looking for whoever's done this, they will attack the first thing they find. Look, man, we don't really fuck with wasps. We have in our old condo, we had like wasps in the walls, and we had to like have somebody come and put the powder and all that in there to kind of get them out. And in this house, because we live like really close to like our fucking neighbors have a bird feeder, so now like it's like the penguins living next door, right? It's just all these fucking birds just around and shit, and which brings squirrels, which brings hawks, nigga. There was a hawk in my backyard looking for squirrels, nigga. That's how many fucking creatures we have. A hawk, nigga. I've never seen a hawk before.
I like how your assumption is they have a bird feeder and now there are hawks in my backyard.
Nigga, there's a hawk out there. There's a fucking hawk out there.
We had mad bird feeders in our backyard. We never had hawks attacking our house. Like that was not a thing.
No, well, you don't live where we live, because there's deer and birds and squirrels and foxes and hawks and wasps. And
I don't know if we had any hawks, but we certainly had any of those things.
And we have fucking my wife was like, there's a wasp that keeps flying under that chair. We have chairs stacked up in the back. There's a wasp just kind of flying under there. I was like, all right, well, we'll go and go in the house, and I guess I'll go see. She was like, take this, right? And I lift the chair open, and like 8 of those motherfuckers just come out, and she was like, oh, and I'm running around like, oh shit, right? Like, and it's very odd because like seeing tall people run away from shit, like when they're not coordinated, it's the funniest thing you'll ever see in your life. But yeah, man, we don't really fuck with them, man, because we got a lot of them, and I want to move.
And I want to move.
I hate animals. I hate animals.
Why don't you just light at one time at night, or a little gasoline, or a little lighter fluid, and just light that bird feeder on fire? It'd be fine. Surely they won't know.
Well, they got a dog, so I ain't going over there.
You ain't going over there.
No,
well, you have
a dog and 2 cats. Get out of here.
Fuck that. That's like a zoo. Yeah, you have hawks in your backyard. We have something that you may be familiar with. We have tiny little scorpions. That's what we have. Yeah. Sometimes they're called pseudo scorpions. because they're not actual scorpions; they're just like arachnids. But yeah, that's like a thing here. Like,
do you have broken bottles of tequila just sitting around?
That's a worm, Micah. They don't put a scorpion in the bottom of it. It's a worm.
Oh, I don't know. They don't put what do they put in the what liquor do scorpions drink?
Do they drink? I think there is an alcohol that they do put scorpions in. Alcohol that has scorpion.
Scorpion booze.
Yeah, there's it's mezcal. So actually, yeah, that would be down here. This award-winning scorpion mezcal. Yeah.
See, you're like, stupid Micah. He doesn't know anything about alcohol. I know fucking animals drink it.
I mean,
or
like,
or arachnids or whatever.
I'm looking at an image of some sort of like these jars that have like full-on cobra heads in them and giant scorpions. These are not things to drink. But that shit is fucking terrifying. Dude, holy shit. That is a full-on cobra in a bottle. Like a dead cobra.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Fuck that. I don't even want that in my house. I had a buddy of mine. His dad went to like Thailand or something, and he brought back it was a cobra head in a bottle. I was like, I don't want that in my house. No way. That's fucking terrible.
Nah, yo. That's a bad omen, dude.
Yeah, it feels like a mistake. Like it's like, nah, I'm good. Like here's one like with a scorpion and a cobra in it together. Why they got to be in it together? Why? What the fuck? They friends and shit? Get the fuck out of here! No.
You want some? Why don't you just invite the devil into your home? Jesus fucking Christ!
Yeah, that feels like a mistake. Okay, so here is my story. Plastic surgeries, guys. Some of them are not worth it. Woman's eyeball sewn to the corner of her eye in botched cosmetic surgery. A woman, you'll be able to guess the region very easily. A woman suffered vision problems and subsequent depression following a botched double eyelid surgery in which her eyeball was accidentally sewn to the corner of her eye.
All right, look.
Yes.
Look.
Now go ahead and be a racist. Go ahead and be a racist. I dare you.
After last week, okay. I don't want this to be a pattern. All right. This is an Asian person, yo. This is an Asian person.
100%.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna hedge my bets. I'm gonna go with the with China because it's, they have more people there. So
interesting. You're a racist. Like you're a fucking racist. You just happen to be correct, but look, nobody gets double eyelid surgery except for Asian folks. Like, by the way, if you don't know what that is, you know how like we have eyelids, right? And Asian
like the line.
Yeah, Asian people don't have that, right? Because they are born different, which is fine.
Can you show me an example?
No, I'm not. No, like, don't do it. So yeah, they get this surgery to make themselves look more Western, which I think is fucked up. Like, you don't need to do that. Like this does not need to be a thing. And this woman, in 2021, she underwent this surgery and it didn't go so well. To correct an unevenness of the corner of her eyes, I guess after having the original surgery, the woman claimed that she felt discomfort during the actual surgery, but pushed through it only to discover that her left eyeball in the corner of her eye had been stitched together. One, ow. Two, yes, they do. And by the way, she's doing the thing. I'm not doing it. She's doing it. But one, ow. Two, why were you awake? I don't want to be awake for anything surgical near my eyeball. That's insane. Unless you're shooting lasers into it. That was fine. At first, a doctor who operated on her told her that everything was fine. But then Zhang started experiencing blurry vision and limited eye movement. And despite attempts to correct the damage, She is still struggling with physical and mental issues more than 2 years after the procedure. Yo, get a scalpel and fucking cut that shit.
Yo, I can't.
No, this is making me.
Normally, I can watch stuff like this. I can't.
Yeah, it's weird.
I can't. I don't know how people wear contacts. I can't touch my eyes. What the fuck? No. That's why I don't go into water, by the way. Because I'm scared of opening my eyes. That's the reason?
Wear a pair of goggles, you fucking chicken shit. Are you serious? That's the reason?
No. The reason is because I'm not a fucking fish. And there's no point in me being underwater.
Yeah, all right.
Also,
that's the reason. Now, you're like my daughter.
I'm too tall. I'm too tall. Like, the pool, I damn sure ain't going in the ocean. What the fuck? You just invite. I don't like it when the animals come on my property. You think I'm gonna go on theirs? Get out of here.
Fair.
Fuck that.
Fair enough. Mike is scared to put his head under the water like a 5-year-old. That's the reason.
I'll put my head under the water. I just won't open my eyes.
You ever worn a pair of goggles?
No, because like don't. Okay, all right.
Nah, go ahead. Ask the stupid ass question.
Forgive my ignorance, okay? Forgive my ignorance.
I won't, but go ahead.
Don't you have to like put like a little bit of water in the goggles?
No.
Or your eyes will get sucked like no. the goggles will like suck your eyeballs as you're trying to take them off or some dumb shit.
No,
like, doesn't it have to be like a little bit of air?
If you press, yeah, I mean, when you have them off, you put them on. There's air, and you put them on. Now, if you press them tight to your face, you might have and your eyeball might pop out.
And then you pull your fucking eyeballs out. Nah, I ain't fucking with that, man. I ain't pulling my eyeballs out because you want to take a quick dip. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Your fear of goggles is this is your planes. This is your John Madden with planes situation. You're like, yo, no way.
Yeah, get out of here. Oh, it's hot, so I'm just gonna fuck up my vision. Like, what the fuck? I'll take a shower. Get the fuck out of here. Take a cold shower like a psychopath.
I mean, fair enough. You're almost going to be, in a couple of years, you'll be 50 years old. You're never going to learn how to swim?
Oh, it's too late. I'm on the back half of my life now. What's the point?
I mean, that's true. That's true.
Now, look, I'm trying to get my boys to swim, right? Because my wife is like, no, they are going to at least learn how to swim.
Yeah, so they can save you.
That's fine. Guess what? The next generation is supposed to be better than the previous generation. And if I learn how to swim, then they won't be special.
Look,
I'm making sure they are special.
Right. In fairness, I will say this. In all fairness to you, there is a non-0% chance that they won't be better than you. Okay, like it's fine. You can learn to swim. They'll be good. Trust me. I've met them. Yeah, they're already better. It's fine.
Look, there's no point in swimming. There really isn't. There isn't. We don't live on an island. You know
what if you find yourself in a body of water?
Oh, what if I find myself in a body of water? What, a bathtub? What the fuck? Like if I find myself in a body on a cruise ship? If I find myself in a body of water, I'll stand up. Yeah, that's what I'll do.
You're gonna end up on a cruise. You're gonna end up on a plane, that plane in Lost. And you got to swim out from the ocean. You got to make it to the island. Nobody gonna drag your big ass. No, you're done. It's over.
I'm knocking Rose or whatever the fuck her name was off of that door. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, that's it. Here. That's a good move. Move over. Here, I don't have enough room. Yeah, you do. And then you just tip
well, you do now, right? And capsize that door. Get out of here.
That's what he should have done. Save yourself. Out of here. Yeah. So this woman got her eyeball duct taped to her side of her face. That's fucking insane. No thanks.
Oh my god, that image of the actual eye like stitched to the fucking corner of her face is
horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Good. All right, trailers this week. First one up is Kaos. This is a Netflix movie starring.
Not a movie; it's a series.
Oh, it's a series. Okay. What's his face starring in this?
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. Thank you. The premise is the all-powerful yet insecure god Zeus starts to fear his end of reign once he notices a wrinkle on his forehead, possibly indicating the end of the world. He becomes paranoid and vengeful towards his liege. Meanwhile, three humans start to discover their connections with each other and the grand conspiracy involving Greek gods. Jeff Goldblum is playing Zeus. Cliff Curtis is playing Poseidon. Debbie Mazur is playing Medusa. Just trying to pick the bigger names that I see. Yeah, and then Eddie Izzard, or Susie Izzard, as he goes, is also in this. So yeah, okay, cool.
I wish this was a movie, because I'd be more apt to watch it. I might watch the first episode, but they are 50 minutes each, and there are 8 of them. I like how, but I might give this a shot just because, I like Greek mythology. It's I like how Greek mythology is basically just used as like, hey, here's why you should be atheist. Because God, the Greek gods are like metaphors for religion, obviously, but they're also metaphors for the haves versus the, have-nots, right? The people who literally are above you in your station, and how they treat the little people below them.
Yeah. I mean,
say again.
They're dicks.
Yeah, they're dickheads. People with power generally, not generally, but a lot of them are kind of dicks. And look, I'll give it a shot. I'll give the first episode a shot, and if I can convince my wife, then that would really help in me watching this, because I like the idea of Jeff Goldblum as just like Zeus.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, this is out on Netflix now. Like, it came out yesterday. Yeah, it came out yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. It looks like kind of a fun time. I'd be willing to check this out. Next up, trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Look, I've never finished the first one, not for any hate against the movie. I just didn't have a chance to finish it. This looks like a fun time if you are into this series. Keanu Reeves is new to the franchise. He's playing Shadow. He does not have a blicky, unfortunately. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails are all back with their actors. And Jim Carrey is back as Dr. Robotnik. Micah, you said this trailer did nothing for you.
Yeah, none of these Sonic movies, none of these Sonic trailers have done anything for me. We were a Nintendo house, so I don't have the unabashed like nostalgia for Sonic the Hedgehog. If my son wanted to start watching them, I guess I'd watch them, but yeah, I don't. I know some people who are like really jazzed for this, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
This just isn't for me.
Yeah, I might see if my daughter wants to watch this, or watch the first one and see what her interests are in it. Yeah, look, I think it's a good trailer for a kids movie. I don't have a problem with that. It looks like it could be fun for kids. So I think I'm okay with that. I've been forced to watch the Shark Boy and Lava Girl series of movies and Spy Kids recently, and like, yeah, you know what? Robert Rodriguez does a pretty good job with those kids' movies. So, sure.
It's better than my son, who is fascinated with this movie called Migration. About a bunch of ducks.
The ducks. Yeah, we've seen that movie. Yeah, my daughter loves that movie.
Yeah, he watches it all the time.
That's the Camille Nanjiani one, right?
Yeah. And I'm just kind of tired of it.
Dude, I'm telling you, the Robert Rodriguez movies, they're not bad. They're actually not bad. I was actually shocked, to be honest.
I think my son is into it because my wife took him to the theater to see it.
Oh, Immigration? Immigration.
Yeah,
Migration.
Immigration. Yeah, when it first came out. So that's that might be why. But which means I got to take him to see some fucking movies that like I don't mind watching.
Yeah. I mean, look, I will say this: because my daughter watched We Can Be Heroes, which apparently is the sequel to the Shark Boy Lava Girl fucking franchise, and it's like their kids are like the other heroes in that universe. Their kids are now coming of age to be heroes, and she really liked it. And I'm watching it with her, and it's like, you know what? This is a really good entry for like superhero type of stuff. And so she was like all about that shit. And I was like, great. I'm not showing her Iron Man or any of that other stuff yet. But when it comes time to, I'm seeding the ground, just making her support my lifestyle, which is being a giant fucking dork. So yeah, she's into it.
I showed my son Iron Man, and he likes it. But he just wants to fast forward to the action scenes.
Yeah, it's too much talking.
Right. It's just way too much. So it's like, all right, here's the beginning. All right. And there's usually like 3 action beats in a movie.
That's all he wants.
Like that. And that's all he wants. Same thing with Top Gun. Now he had Top Gun Maverick. Now he wants to be a pilot, right? He's super into planes, right?
Yeah.
And so so I said, all right, well, look, because he used to just watch like videos of just like random like landings and takeoffs, right?
Right.
And it's
give
like
this kid some narrative, for God's sake.
Yeah, you need a narrative, yo. Like I'm not gonna just sit here and watch like you know, it's my F-16 fighter jet. Like we're not just gonna watch F-16s fly and land, right? Like you need some sort of narrative. So we started watching Top Gun Maverick, and he likes the beginning, he likes the training scenes, he likes the end. And he likes Kenny Loggins now. Can you play Danger Zone? Like,
yeah, that's when we were at your house the other day. He was just like, yo, he was hyped for that shit.
Yeah, and so, but I say all that to say that like he's finally kind of getting used to watching the narrative bits, and you know, learning a little more patience. So I got to find some other movies. Because I'm not going to keep watching Migration, man. I can't.
No, we're like, all right, we've watched this 2-3 times. That's it. Like, nope. Absolutely fucking not. I'm done with that shit.
Right.
I can't take it anymore.
Right.
All right. So then I added. You didn't have a chance to probably watch this, but I added a trailer for a Netflix movie or series. I have no fucking idea. This is called The Shadow Strays. This is some straight ninja shit. It looks kind of fun. I don't know what they're talking about because I haven't listened to the audio, but there's some pretty good action sequences. I'm here for that. The premise is 13, that is the person's name. An assassin determined to save a child from a crime syndicate, even if it means going against her own mentor and organization who hires her. Look, I love ninjas. I like a Japanese crime syndicate. Yeah, and I like revenge. So I'm cool with that. And this is directed by Timo Tjahjanto.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, sure.
So I guess this is an Indonesian movie.
Yeah, probably from that name.
And I'm trying to find out if it's a movie or if it's a series. If it's a movie, I'll watch it. Right? Like that.
I think it's a movie. Yeah, I think it's a movie.
Okay, and it's all right. I'd watch
October
this.
17th, by the way.
Yeah, I'd watch this just to, it'll bring me back to my days in college when I would just watch a bunch of like Asian martial arts movies and stuff. Like, I feel like we all go. Did you go through that phase?
Of course, 100%.
Yeah, like
that's why I judge it so harshly. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, we'll see. I didn't get a chance to listen to it, but they didn't look like they were doing a lot of talking. So,
your son would love it. All action, little dialogue. Get to the jets.
Enough of all that talky shit.
Yeah, I'm not here for that. All right, let's get frustrated real fast before we get out of here. The trailer for the 688 has dropped. This is Tyler Perry's upcoming movie. This is a film about the 6888, which was a regiment during World War II that was all black women in the army, I believe, and they were like a postal battalion of sorts, and they kind of kept the mail flowing during World War II. It's a very it's kind of a famous group of women. Let me give you a little bit of background here. The 6,888th Central Postal Directory Battalion, named 6888, was predominantly black battalion of women of the Women's Army Corps. They had 855 women. Amongst them were 3 Latinas, both enlisted and officers, and was led by Major Charity Adams, a black woman. It was the only predominantly all-black U.S. Women's Army Corps units sent overseas during World War II. The group's motto was "No male, low morale." The battalion was organized into 5 companies, blah, blah, blah. Most worked as postal clerks, but others worked as cooks, mechanics, and held other support positions so that the battalion was self-sufficient. So that's what the movie is going to cover their lives, being sent overseas during World War II and everything else. This looks very good, actually. Like, the trailer looks pretty goddamn good. And this is why Tyler Perry irritates the shit out of us, because he could make good movies if he wanted to. Yeah,
this movie, it looks promising. Now look, this is essentially just a teaser trailer. But I do have high hopes for this, given who is starring in it and who is directing it, right? Like, Tyler Perry always said that, like, the Medea character is like a tribute to the women in his family, right? Like, they were strong black women and they didn't take no shit from nobody, right? And he wanted to put that on screen. Why he didn't cast an actual woman to do that, I don't know why, but I get it. I respect it. And so he has a lot of, and I believe that he has like reverence for stuff like this. Right. And I think he's like really, really taking it seriously. And I hope this is good. And I think we will probably review this on Black Cinema. 100%. It comes out around Christmas, so you might not get it till, next year, January. But this is very promising. It looks like it might be good, which is so incredibly frustrating, as you said, because like Tyler Perry, he is a tremendous businessman, and he's an okay director, mm-hmm. and a kind of a mediocre writer. But I don't think he has to be, right? Yeah. Like if he even if he doesn't want to like hire other writers, right? Because it's not his voice. I get it, right? That guy's a billionaire doing it his way, right? So he might not be willing to trust other people with his projects. But yo, I need you to like take your time, right? This isn't Divorce in the Black where you could bang out a script in an afternoon and shoot the thing in a week and a half, right? Like this story should be a story that is told that you took your time with.
It deserves,
and you put your money behind.
It deserves respect.
It deserves respect. And because it's this subject matter, I have high hopes for it. And I hope it's good.
Look, I agree with you. I think it looks very promising. Here's the thing about this trailer. There are war scenes in this trailer. And they look pretty decent. Like, I don't know, did somebody help him shoot that kind of stuff? Because that's not in his... I'm not saying I shouldn't say it's not in his wheelhouse, but we've never seen him do something like that. I mean, these war scenes, these got like planes flying over and shit, like sort of fast action war scenes. I don't think it looks that bad. I don't know. Look, you and I talked about this offline. We give Tyler Perry a hard time because we want him to do better. I don't hate Tyler Perry. I really don't.
I respect the shit out of Tyler Perry, yo. I respect the hell out of that guy. He came from nothing. He came from he's the American dream, yo. Yeah, he's the American dream. And he's the American dream more so off of what I deem to be mediocre work, yo. Like,
which might actually be the American dream if we're being honest.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, just to kind of like do your best, but it's not great, but you still make it anyway. Right. Like, that's kind of the American dream, man. So, and look, that guy made $1 billion off of doing something that he liked, that he enjoyed doing. And like, I respect the hell out of it, yo. I respect the hell out of it, and the fact that he is an artist. I just don't like his art. It just.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. You like, trying your best and it not working is one thing, and then it's another to like, what I feel like is you're just not even trying, right? Like, a prime example of that is like John Hinckley Jr. tried his best to shoot Ronald Reagan, but he just couldn't get.
Thank you.
In before the buzzer. No, but in all seriousness, Reagan's a good time. But like the thing is, like, I know that this guy has the ability to do these movies. Like, it shouldn't be once every 35 fucking years that you do one. Like, look, I'm okay with you doing Divorce in the Black and all this other stuff that we can make fun of. Like, this was some bullshit. But give us one of these every once in a while. And like I was starting to say before I went to the Reagan thing, we make fun of him when his movies are bad and because they're like objectively bad and ridiculous. But don't get it twisted. I would love to see that motherfucker hit one out of the park. I really would, dude. I would love if this movie is a critical and fan massive success and people are just like, yo, this movie was fucking great. And it makes more than $50 million. And we as Black people go see it and like really show up for this movie. And I mean, it's a Netflix movie, but like really it does big numbers and people are watching and talking about it and everything else. And critics and Black critics really like it and stuff like that. I want him to hit one out of the park. Just once. So that he can see what the response is. That the response doesn't have to be, well, it was an Albury movie. I want him to see like, yo, this was fucking amazing. Do more of this. Because it might spur him to try harder to do other things. And maybe when you go back to do another, romantic Black podcast type movie, relationship podcast type movie, maybe you put a little bit more effort into it. Maybe you work with some people to expand your efforts and do some bigger stuff. Like, yo, if you can do a war movie and pull it off, you can do big movies. Like a war picture is like the standard bearer for doing a big film. It is. Now, I'm not saying you got to start doing sci-fi and all this other shit that you're not necessarily normally doing, but maybe you try. And maybe you fail, but you still shoot for the moon and, and you fail, but at least you tried, right? Don't be Homer Simpson, right? Don't do the never try type of shit. Because that's where he is right now, it feels like. So
this
I'm
movie
is good.
This movie is released on December 20th on Netflix, but it is releasing in, I guess, select theaters on December 6th, 2024.
Interesting.
Usually, when a Netflix movie gets like 3 weeks in the theater, it's to qualify for an Academy Award.
Nigga. Yo, that would be wild. Like, what if Netflix is like, nah, yo, this is actually really good. Like,
we'll see. We'll see how Netflix markets this.
Yeah.
Because I'm real curious. I'm real curious about the story, and I'm real curious to see how this movie does. And if this movie is good, we got to show up.
Yeah, we do. We do. We like black people got to show up 100%. 100%. Yo, if they are putting this in theaters to qualify for Oscar conversation, that is unbelievable. But I'd love to see him do it. Like, I would, yo. Like,
yeah.
Yo, Will Smith had been trying to get an Oscar his entire fucking career, and he got one and he fucked the whole night up. Which is just unbelievable. Like, bro, legacy, not a good legacy. Can you imagine?
I'm having a hard time trying.
Right. If it's good enough that it gets nominated for an Oscar. I feel like, and look, I'm not a fan of billionaires, but I feel like even if he loses, he got to go up there. He got to give a speech like, yo, just let Tyler Perry go up there and talk his shit for a little bit. Like, I feel like you're allowed. Even if you don't win, he should be allowed to make a speech.
Absolutely.
Shit.
And then,
wild.
Stop making all these fucking Madea movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even the Madea movies. Like, just stop making these whack-ass relationship movies. Make good ones. Make good relationship movies.
No, you did. You made one. It was great.
You made one. Yeah.
Why Did I Get Married? The first one was good. That's a good movie. That is a fun, good movie. It ain't the best movie in the world, but it's a good movie. And the second one, it was like, did you watch the first one? Do you remember the characters? He was like, fuck it, I don't know. Shit.
That whole 80-20 speech in the first Why Did I Get Married is like that. Like, that's some shit that's like, oh wow, like you could take that shit home with you. You know what I mean? And just like, oh shit, yeah. Like,
I mean, he had a couple moments. Remember in the last movie, Divorce in Black, with the conversation with the mom and Making Good. Yeah, that was like a real scene.
Yeah,
like, he's got the potential, yo. He has the potential. Look, I'm telling you, yo, if Tyler Perry gets nominated for an Oscar, yo, I don't give a fuck what came out there yet. I'm rooting for him. As insane as that sounds, I'm rooting for him to win. I really am. Unless it's like Green Book bad, you're like, oh, don't win. But even still, you know what? But you know what? Even if it is, I still think I would root for him. I'd be like, you know what? You didn't deserve this, but I'm glad you got it. Like, I'm glad.
You just want to be an agent of chaos at that point.
Yeah. Which is exactly what John Hinckley was. Interesting. All right. That's it for us, guys. We will see you guys next week with another.
Oh, shit. See ya.